Hello and welcome to Chapter 4 for Chemistry and Society. This is the notes packet video on Chapter 4. And this video is actually quite short because I make reference to a video that is quite long that you need to go watch. So just a reminder that when we have these notes packet videos, that doesn't mean that these are the only things that you need to know. If I refer to another video on my YouTube channel or embedded in Canvas, you need to also make sure to go watch that as well, because that content will also be on the quiz and on the exam. But this is Chem 1115, Chemistry and Society, Chapter 4 notes. So let's talk about the notes here. Here are the opening questions. We're talking about climate change. We're talking about carbon. We're talking about the carbon cycle, greenhouse gases and their positive and negative effects, all of that good stuff. And then this is a reflection that you will be doing. So I'm going to move right past that. Okay, so just like the water cycle or the nitrogen cycle, there's also a carbon cycle. And there are four main places where we find carbon on Earth. Number one is in the atmosphere in the form of gases, such as carbon dioxide, methane, which is CH4, carbon monoxide, that's a small amount, carbon dioxide, all of those are in the atmosphere. Then there are carbonate containing rocks, fuels, soils, right? So in the ground, in the earth would be our second place. Plants and animals, right? Living things, we're all carbon-based. The study of carbon chemistry is called organic chemistry. So carbon combines with oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen. And again, if you want to go on and study that in a deeper level, you'll take organic chem. And then carbon is dissolved in water on the surface and in the ocean, also usually as carbonates, but also as other compounds as well. So here's a picture just kind of showing the carbon cycle as it moves through the earth, right? You've probably seen similar images with the water cycle, showing how rain moves through the ecosystem or how nitrogen moves through the ecosystem. So this is a figure from your book showing the carbon cycle. Okay, I'm going to stop right here and tell you, you need to go onto Canvas or my YouTube channel and watch the video on ions and naming ionic compounds. Because carbon exists in ionic compounds, you need to know how to name those kinds of compounds. And so I'm not going to spend time going over that material because I have lectures that are devoted solely to that topic. And it will be on the Chapter 4 quiz, and it will be on exam 1. So please take the time to go learn about naming ionic compounds so that you are prepared. Okay, so let's talk about energy balance in the Earth. Of all the sun's radiation that reaches Earth, 46% absorbed. And then what gets absorbed is re-emitted in the form of IR. And so we have what's called a greenhouse effect. You've probably heard of that before, and you can experience the greenhouse effect anytime you go get in a car that's been sitting in the sun on a hot summer day, right? You're experiencing the greenhouse effect there, right? Heat goes into the car. Some of it goes back out of the car, but some of it stays in the car, and that causes the temperature inside the car to build up. Now, normally when you hear the word greenhouse effect, your first word is, that's so terrible. And you're right, it can be bad. It can lead to things like global warming. However, if we didn't have the greenhouse effect, the temperature on the Earth would be about -18 degrees Celsius, right? We would be like our neighbor Mars. We would be very cold. So when you hear a greenhouse and you talk about the atmosphere, don't be so quick to just diss our planet, because if we didn't have some greenhouse effect, we wouldn't be here to complain about the greenhouse effect. So there are pros as well as cons. All right, so when we talk about greenhouse gases, we're talking about particular molecules, and the shapes of those molecules are significant to us. If you go on to take future chemistry classes, you will learn how to draw molecules and what molecules look like, and you'll spend a lot of time talking about molecular shape because that's a really important aspect of chemistry. But since this is a survey course, we don't get into that in Chem 1115. We just look at pretty pictures, and I get to tell you that in the future, you will get to learn how to draw them. But the shape of the molecules is significant, and the molecules that are in the atmosphere, their shapes are significant. And so that's really all that I want you to take from this. So the shape of water, just so you know, it kind of, I don't know the best way to describe that, because if you turn it upside down, it'd look kind of like a person with silly little ears, but it's bent, right? Oxygen's in the middle and there are 2 hydrogens on the sides. And then carbon dioxide is linear, it's straight. So just to give you an idea, again, in Chem 1115 survey course, you're not going to get into drawing these things for yourself, but just so that you're exposed to it for future, because again, the shape makes the difference. The shape makes all the difference. And as we've said before, when light interacts with a molecule, it can cause the molecule to speed up. That's what the molecule does. The particles, the electrons become excited and they move faster. And if those molecules get too excited, it can cause bonds to break. It can cause new molecules to form. So interacting energy with molecules can cause old bonds to break and new bonds to form. And that occurs both in the atmosphere and down here on the planet. So these are some questions that I'd like you to stop and think about. Just pause the video and think about it on your own. Obviously, you don't have to form a group because this is an online class, but just think about it on your own. How you feel about greenhouse effect and warming of the planet. Is that good or is it bad, and why? So where carbon dioxide in the air comes from, what climate change is it even occurring? And then just some things to ponder, because in this class, since it's a survey class, we want you thinking about the big picture. We like the chemistry. Chemistry is awesome, but we also want you thinking about how chemistry affects our everyday lives. And so that is the end of the chapter 4 notes. Again, I warned you that it was going to be short because there is a reference to a lecture that is quite long. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, have a great day and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.